In this video, I want to talk about replacing the alternator. When we were driving on the freeway, I found the voltage was gradually going down. Usually it is around 14 volts in normal driving conditions, but it went lower than 12 volts on the freeway, so something went wrong. If the voltage is low and charge warning light doesn't come on when we turn on the ignition key, we should check the light bulb of the charge warning light first. Because the charge warning light is an important part of the charging system. 12 volts from the battery is turned on by the ignition switch, and that goes through the light bulb and it flows to the terminal on the alternator. And that signals the alternator to start generating power. If the light bulb is out, the alternator will not start generating power. I check the light bulb and wire in the following manner. Disconnect the wire from the charging light at the alternator and connect the wire to the oil pressure switch. Then turn the ignition key. If the light doesn't come on, your problem could be caused by the light bulb or the wire, and it could be solved by simply replacing the light bulb or fixing the wire connection. When we turn the key, and if the light comes on, we can tell that the light bulb and the wiring are not the cause of the problem. In that case, the next step is to check how much power the alternator is actually generating. Momentarily, send the 12 volts to the terminal that connects the warning light to start the alternator to generate power. It should output 13 to 14 volts. If not, as you see here, we can conclude that the alternator is not working. That was my case, so I had to replace it. There are a few different ways to replace the alternator. We can do that without getting the engine off, nor taking the shroud off. If your engine has a single carburetor, the carburetor is blocking the backing plate that holds the alternator. So you may have to remove it before taking the alternator out. My engine has dual carburetors, and there's nothing blocking the backing plate, so it was easier to work on it. Here is the procedure to take the alternator out. There is very little space between the fan shroud and the alternator stand. The alternator is attached to the backing plate and cooling fan. If we pull the alternator, the backing plate will hit the stand. Also, the fan will hit the top and the bottom of the hole on the shroud. If we detach the stand from the base and pull them together, we can get the alternator out. But if we separate the alternator from the cooling fan in the shroud, we can take the alternator out without removing the stand nor the fan shroud. And this is how we did. The first thing is disconnect the battery. Then remove the pulley and the belt. I found a crack on the old alternator, so it was good to replace it this time. Remove the air cleaner to make the back of the shroud accessible. Clip the shaft to stop spinning and remove the 36mm nut holding the fan to the alternator shaft. This can be the most difficult part of the process because it is not easy to access the nut. It took a while, but we were able to get it off. Next, take off the 4 screws that holds the plate to the shroud. Then take the strap off that holds the alternator on the stand. Now we can pull the alternator. When you pull the alternator out and separate the fan and the alternator, we need to be careful not to drop any shims placed between the alternator and the fan. Shims were used if the fan touches the plate, but in my case there was no shim used there. It is good to check the space between the new alternator and the cooling fan before installing it in the shroud. Put the backing plate on the alternator, then test fit the fan on it.
That way down.
The fan was not touching the plate while it was spinning, so we didn't need to insert any shim. After testing, we had to disconnect the fan to install everything back. Put the fan in the shroud. Then, put the alternator with the plate back on the shroud. Fastened 4 screws on the backing plate. Secure the alternator on the stand with a strap. Then, tighten the 36mm nut to connect the fan to the alternator shaft. Put the pulley and fan belt back on. Reconnect the electric cables to the alternator. Put the air filters back on the carburetors. Put the filter on the breather. And final check all the connections. Then start the engine. That was all it took to replace the alternator. I hope you find this video helpful. I want to thank the members of Central Jersey VW Society for helping me. Thank you for watching.